of this channel, new viewers in general, and also people joining here in after the live ended. Good to see you here. And yeah, today I'm going to do something that I haven't tried before, but we're going to do some sort of reaction video to what I call hot takes, or like photography myths that I found on the Reddit, and also some things that I've heard along the way, doing client works and talking to people in general about photography. And unlike the last couple of lives that I've done today, I've actually prepared something, so we have something to talk about. And yeah, feel free to join in with your opinions on these topics. And yeah, I would love to know what you think about these kinds of topics and your thoughts about them, to see if we agree or disagree, and perhaps even if we can change each other's opinions about some of these topics. And yeah, just to say this here in the beginning, of course, my opinions are not the right ones. These are just my opinions, and feel free to have your own. Let's keep the chat nice and friendly, and yeah, let's push the happy and nice attitude here on the internet and in this photography community. Anyway, yeah, I have prepared something now, and eventually when this live ends, I will probably pin something to the comments. I can't do this right now because I'm just live recording here on my phone. So yeah, you can also comment in the so you can also comment in the comment sections later on if you missed the live here. Anyway, let's go ahead. Today I have no wine and nuts, but I have made a cup of tea and some cake. And I will start with the first photography hot take and talk about this. And yeah, feel free to join in if you have any thoughts about this. So the first hot take that I have here on my list is that you don't need a full frame camera to be a professional photographer. And what I think about this is, yeah, you do not need a full frame camera to be a professional photographer. Hey, nice to meet you, AG Photography. So, but yeah, you don't need a full frame camera to be a professional photographer. I really don't think you do that, especially in these days where cameras are really great and you can get really high quality cameras that are not full frame. Of course, there are benefits with full frame and there are benefits with APC sensor cameras. And yeah, I don't think it's a deal breaker in that case, even though I do shoot full frame myself when I do paid photography gigs. So we have another comment here, or hot take, and that is, what do you mean? You like the M50 from Canon? I haven't used that one. It's been quite a while since I used the Canon camera. I shoot Sony and Fuji. Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is a Canon, is the M50 a full frame camera, or is it an APC? I think it's an APC sensor, right? Well, I haven't used that camera. I've seen some videos about the M50, I think, on YouTube. So it's a full frame, okay. So you use it for hobby photography, or do you use it professional? So okay, well, that's something nice to use it for as well, I guess. But yeah, you don't really need a full frame camera to do YouTube vlogs. But it's great to have one, of course. And I guess that's my take on this as well. To be a pro, you don't need a full frame camera. Anyway, I will jump to the next hot take that I wrote down here, and that is something about street photography is just about getting lucky. You will see some of these comments on photographers on the internet, and people commenting this. And to some extent, I agree that street photography is about luck, because sometimes you need to be at the right place at the right time to get a certain photo. But for the people that are doing street photography and are inspiring others and are doing really well, I think that they seek out this luck as well. It's not just pure luck, like they are actually finding good compositions and good photos, and then they perhaps wait for a really long time to make sure that a certain person or a certain kind of action is happening to make the photo even better. So to some extent, of course, it is luck, because some things you cannot really like wait out for. It would just happen when you're out on the street, and you cannot really wait for that to happen again or recreate it, and you need to be ready to do that photo. Hey Brood, what's up? But yeah, I think luck will only happen if you pursue it, and that's the other like side of this question, that to some extent it is luck, but it is not all about luck. It is way much about skills as well. Well, yeah, I'm doing pretty well at the moment, I guess. Yeah, just enjoying the weekend here now. Looking forward to some relaxation. So yeah, drinking some tea now and eating a little bit of cake. And yeah, I guess a little later I will watch a movie or a show or something like that before I will hit the sack and go to bed. What about you? Do you have any plans? Oh God. Well, I don't have any plans as well, so you're not alone. Yeah. So I have another photography hot take here. We could talk about, or I could talk about at least, and that is just about shooting raw. And I guess there are like two hot takes on this. One could be like, you don't need to shoot raw because you can just shoot JPEG. And to some extent, this is true, because I think that JPEGs in modern cameras are getting really good. Like a lot of the time, you don't need all of the extra dynamic range and color depth that you get in a raw photo, because you can get a lot out of the JPEGs. But of course, for some situations, the JPEG won't last you, and then it might be because you got a photo that was not very well exposed, and you didn't do your job well. So if you know your job, then JPEG should be sufficient. But I shoot raw mostly as well myself, and that is of course just to make sure that if you do miss something up, then you have a lot more to work with. So what do you say, Bert? Where you're stuck at? So since you cannot go home. I actually don't know that much about like phone photography in that sense. Like I don't really use my phone. Oh, You're stuck at your college. So you are planning to go home to your family, and you cannot do that? That sucks. So do you like, I mean, like in Denmark now, people in school are about to have summer vacation. Do you have summer vacation, or was it just like a weekend trip? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. I hope you find out something that you can do, or like somebody else at your college also has to stay around and you find something to do with them. That's a funny comment, Grant. Um, well, the other side, I'm sorry. I was just thinking of Red Hot Chili Peppers, I guess. Yeah, you could totally just get away with doing raw plus JPEGs. Of course, for me, it's just like if I'm if I shoot the raw, then I more or less don't need the JPEG because yeah, it is more or less just the JPEG, just not that pre-edited in the camera, and it is pretty fast to put on a preset to get it to look like in camera if that's what you want. So for yeah, at least for my Sony cameras, I just shoot raw. That's just how I've like done it for a long time. But now I've also invested in a Fuji camera, and here I'm trying to shoot more JPEGs, of course, by using some of these Fuji recipes. So you get a baked-in look, and I like the idea about this as well. I would like to do this more, but as I've said in another video I've made, I think that I need to work with my perfectionism because there is something to it with JPEGs if you don't plan to edit them a lot, that I feel like I could still get a better result if I did a raw, or at least if I edit the JPEG later on. And then yeah, it's kind of hard for me to see why I just shouldn't shoot raw. Um, yeah. If I'm an angel, I don't think so. Well, bro, I think I didn't answer your question as well, at least about photo cameras or mobile cameras. As I said, I don't really use my phone for photography that much. It's more just like snapping photos of my friends or family. Um, so I'm not really sure. I guess like most phone cameras have a decent camera in them, but of course you pay for what you get. So if you buy phones with yeah more expensive phones, you will probably get a better camera setup in the phone. Um, I think like the big issue with a lot of camera phones is that they overprocess the image, so you get a really digitalized look in the photos, and yeah, I don't like that much, and I might be totally off because a lot of things have changed in these days, I think. Yeah. Um, I mean, like I've seen a lot of videos from some of the newer Apple phones that look really nice. So you can definitely get a lot of good things out of both video and photos in cameras these days. It's more or less just about like learning how to use it and make it work for you in the way that you like it. Yeah, and yeah, you can get away a lot with the edits as well. So I guess there's a lot of possibilities to get a somewhat expensive camera phone and get a decent camera setup that way. but yeah, I'm not using it myself that much. I like to have a real camera in my hands. I think it just gives me something else. But of course, if I don't have a camera, I will use my phone if that's the way. Yeah, I think yeah, I see your point. Like the digitalized look that you get is because they are designed to make people look good straight off out of the camera, and you don't need to do much about the editing. So yeah, I get the take. Hey, hey, yeah, I don't know how to say your Greek name, but hello. Um, so I was talking about the raw thing, and I was talking about there was also like another take to this, and this was about like that raw is overrated because you can just get it right in camera, and it's related to the things we just talked about. And I think I touched upon this a bit myself because there is something about yeah, bro. Apparently so. Yeah, you bought a new lens. Do you like it? 50. I haven't tried that Sony lens. I have tried a lot of other Sony lenses, but I haven't tried that one. Do you like it for weddings? Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. How much did you have to pay for it? Is it a 2.8 lens or is it a f2 lens? Yeah, f2. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of money for 1,000 euros. Well, I hope it works out for you then, because yeah, you need to do a lot of weddings to make that money again, unless you do like really high end weddings. But yeah, I understand why you would like to buy it. It's a yeah, it's a great cover, I guess. That's great. It's I guess it's a great focal length for doing wedding photography as well. Like you cover a really good range in that. Good night, bro. It was nice talking to you. I hope you find something to do at your college. The Sony A7R5, yeah. Then you have a lot of megapixels as well, so you can crop in. But that's also an expensive camera. But it sounds like a nice setup. So yeah, why did you change from a PAL to NTCS? I guess it's video related. Yeah, I know we have there's PAL in Europe, but how, I read it as you changed to NTCS. But you mean you changed to PAL? So you were using NTCS, but it still showed that you could shoot in 50 frames per second? Or am I not understanding this correct? No. Okay, you changed to NTCS to shoot in 60. Okay. Yeah, I understand now. You had PAL and now you're doing the 60 frames per second with the NT. I get that. Hey Barry. I guess that's some sort of hot take as well, Barry. Like you need the fastest lens, like you need a really low aperture on your lens to be a good photographer. And I'm right with you on this one. Like for many situations, you don't need a lens that can do 1.8 or 1.2 or 2.8 if we're talking about zoom lenses. I have an f4 lens as well. It's the 70 to 200. It's it's a really good lens. It's one of the older, like longer zoom lenses from Sony. But I still think it performs really well and it has stabilization. And yeah, I really like that, even though it's an f4. So I'm totally with you. And also, yeah, if you're doing, I can't see if you're doing video or photos, but like cameras nowadays perform really well in low light, both for video and photos. And of course, sometimes you might have wanted to be able to stop down a little bit more, but for most situations, yeah, you don't need it because the camera can help you. So I'm with you. Okay, that sounds like a good thing you have going there with the weddings. I have a photographer friend here in Denmark that do a lot of like yeah envelopes and also like wedding gigs. Also from foreigners coming to Denmark to do this, and I think he's making decent amount of money on this as well. So there's definitely something to it. Like yeah, doing this for tourists. Yeah, I've recently just started using Viltrox lenses myself, and I'm actually pretty surprised about them. I think they're pretty good, even though they're really cheap. They're pretty sharp and yeah, cheap, so it's hard not to like them, I guess. So that's pretty good. But like, if you have the zoom lens with the 50 millimeter, then you probably don't need the Viltrox lens anymore, or to just stick it around. Do you have a second camera, or when do you use that? Hey, Siddharth. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know much about photo cameras on phones. Um, I I think like as I said to somebody earlier here in the live that at least for me, I think it's better to have a real camera in your hands. It just gives me something else than using phone cameras. Um, and I guess this is not the same for everybody, but at least for me, I like it. And I think like when you have the thoughts about wanting a digital camera, then it might be something for you at least. So yeah, I think it's just you get something else out of using a real camera. Of course, you also need to carry this with you, and that might be something that you need to adjust to because at least for many people, they buy a camera and then they never use it because they don't want to carry it with them. And in that case, then the phone might be better. So this is of course something that you need to think about. But like, perhaps borrow a camera from somebody and try to use it for a while to see if it's something that you really want to use. That could be like a way to like test out if you should buy a digital camera for yourself. Yeah, Hasselblad. I think that many photographers would like to have a Hasselblad, but yeah, that's definitely an expensive camera. Yeah, I've been to Iceland for many years ago, um, but I was like, yeah, 20 or something, so I didn't do much photography at that time. But it's a beautiful place. Okay, Barry. Yeah. Well, I'm with you on this one. I mean, like, I seldom shoot at the lowest f number myself as well. So yeah. Even though like you get the benefit of some being able to let in a little bit more light, then yeah, I would rather like stop down a bit and shoot a bit higher, like f4, f5, 6 myself. So I'm with you. Like I think that being able to get one or two more stops for the insanely more expensive price that you need to pay a lens is sometimes really hard to like justify to yourself. So yeah, I, to me it's not a deal breaker as well. I would rather like get a f4 lens and pay way less for it and still be happy with it. So yeah. Well, Siddharth, that really sounds like you should try to get your own camera. At least what I'm reading, like you don't need to buy the most expensive one. Like you can even buy a used one if you would like to. I actually, one of the cameras that I have that I like to use most myself is an A6000 that I bought used a couple of years ago. Um, yeah, and it's definitely not the most advanced camera, and yeah, there are a lot of better options out there. But I really like using the A6000 also because I don't feel that attached to it. So if I eventually did drop it or break it or somebody stole it, then of course I would be sad, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal to me in like in the long run compared to if I have been using a really expensive newer camera. So I'm not saying you should buy the A6000, but perhaps you could find something that was not that new and that expensive, but still could make you happy by using a real camera. Good night, Andrew. It was nice talking to you too. So, British Basker, I'm just reading your comment now. Is having a fixed focal length camera works? How does 35mm work in most of the situation? So you're asking about how it is to be using a prime lens like a 35mm with no zoom. That's how I read your comment. Well, at least to me, like when I do like street photography or photography in general, I really like to be using primes, and that's just how I like got used to doing photography myself. I rather like to be moving around on my feet to get the frame. Of course, this can limit you at some times, but to me, it's like sticking to one focal length just makes me more comfortable shooting with the focal length that I'm shooting with. And I think, at least to me, it makes me more comfortable taking better photos, or at least that's how I feel. That being said, I have started to be using zooms again here later on in life. but that's mostly when I do like paid photography or video work. Then I really think it is nice to have some sort of zoom, because you might not always be able to get closer or further away. But yeah, the good thing about primes as well is, of course, that usually they are smaller, so you don't have to carry a lot of equipment with you. And I like to keep it minimal here on my older years. So so yeah, I really like sticking to one focal length. I do think though that the 35 millimeter is, I really like the 35 millimeter focal length because it is a little bit wide without being too wide, and it is also pretty close to like the 50 millimeter, which most people consider to be the most natural looking focal length. But I do think, for me personally at least, that the 35 millimeter is a hard focal length to shoot with. So it definitely takes some practice, at least for me. But yeah, I guess that is also like what you get used to and what kind of image you like to look at, and how well you are at composing your image without getting too much distraction in your photos. But yeah, I like the 35 millimeter a lot. Just have to go down here. Reading your comments, Siddharth. Well, Siddharth, it seems like you have made a lot of thoughts about this for yourself, and I definitely do get the money question. And yeah, it's you can get away taking really nice photos on phones. It is also about what you get used to. I just personally really like to have something in my hands, like not a phone in my hands, but a real camera in my hands. I just get another kind of feeling in this. So yeah, and it seems like you would like to have that as well, like in the future. So yeah, I hope you get to save some money so you can buy a camera in the future. Hey, Man, you got yourself a new camera? That's nice. I hope you enjoy it. There's something about when you get your first camera, like yeah, at least for me, like yeah, if you enjoy tech, and of course you are excited about doing a video or photography with your new camera, then it's a really nice thing to get your camera. And there are a lot of things that you need to learn, and buttons you need to understand, and menus you need to set up and stuff like this. So yeah, that's great for you. So what do you plan doing with the camera? Do you have something special you want to do? Advice I would like to pass. You want to document your life? Yeah, that seems to be a really popular thing these days. Great idea also. If I have any advice, well, try to use the camera as much as possible. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I just guess like the more you use it, the more comfortable you will get at it, and it will be easy for you to go out and use it. And yeah, try to learn like the basic of photography and video, and then don't obsess too much if you don't do like what everybody tells you're supposed to do, because in the end, especially if you want to document your life, it's not about getting the correct settings, it's about capturing the moments that you want to remember. So yeah, don't obsess too much about the settings. That's a lot of documenting, Siddharth. Yeah, that must be a lot of photos. Yeah, you're welcome, Signer Man. I hope you get to use your camera a lot and enjoy documenting your life with it. So I think, to me now, the live here have lasted quite some time, and I really like talking to you. So if you continue keeping asking questions stuff, I will hang around a bit. But for now, I will just try to look in one of these hot take as well, and like get that done. And if there are no more people asking questions and stuff like this, then I will end the live here in 10-15 minutes or something like that. So yeah. So I have a hot take here, and that is that photography is 90% editing. And that is something, again, we have talked about a little bit here in the video. And to me, I think that nowadays photography is really a lot about editing as well. Like you can get away a lot with taking not the most perfect photo, and then you can save it in the edit. And depending on how good you are at this and how experienced you are, you need to use a certain amount of time at this. And yeah, some people are really good at doing edits in a really creative way, both for photo and video. But for people that really know their craft, they are able to minimize the editing to at least not being 90% of the process of taking a photo. So, but I definitely agree, at least for me as well, that unless you shoot like black and white photos, then you definitely need to do at least some sort of editing, even though you're using a Fuji camera with a really nice recipe. Then I still think there is room to do some sort of editing. But yeah, I like the idea of doing minimal editing also, because you can really use a lot of time if you have to do the photos or the video, and then you have to do a lot of editing. So I like, myself, I like to try to do this more minimal. And I guess like the time of the state of like photography and social media right now is that you don't need to do this that much, because it is more okay to have photos and videos that looks a bit more like they were shot just straight out of camera. So that's a good thing. So talking about this, I also have this hot take that good photographers, they don't need presets. I'm sorry, I have my dog right here, so if there's some noise, it's because he's scraping the floor with his paws. So back to the one here, the good photographers don't need presets. And to me, I don't agree with this, because presets are just a really good starting point to make your photos look better and to shape them in the way that you like to have your photos look. So at least for myself, I do use presets a lot of the time that I edit photos. And this is both for personal work, but also for clients. So yeah, I definitely don't agree with that. But yeah, if you would like to don't use presets and edit your photos from scratch every time, then of course you can do that. Come up here. Barry, yeah, you found Lightroom hard. Yeah, I actually also found that Lightroom was a bit confusing when I started to do it. I also started off in Photoshop. Well, I like when AI can make some of my job easier, but I am also sad that editing or the post-processing of photos or videos gets too mainstream or easy with AI, because then it kind of take away the skill set that you need to develop to do this. And if it just becomes something that everybody can do with AI, then I think it's hard to see who does it themselves and those who just uses AI to do it. And I guess that's another kind of skill set, of course, that if you get really good at using different AI tools, that's a new sort of skill set. But yeah, to some extent, I think it takes away some of the pride of doing real photography. But again, yeah, I've also used denoising in some shots where it was too noisy, and it saved me being able to use these photos and selling them to my clients. So I guess I'm a bit torn between what's right and wrong. You had the A6000. Yeah. Okay, so you got it when the A6000 was kind of new. Yeah, I just talked about, I don't know if you heard that I bought the A6000 I guess now it's like 4 or 5 years ago. I bought it used, and to me it's one of the most, it's the camera I think that I enjoy shooting with the most. And I still think it's a really good photo camera. And yeah, I just enjoy using it. But I guess why you're interested in the Fuji cameras, I have been down that path myself, and I didn't buy the X100 like you are talking about, even though I think it's looking like a really nice camera. I bought the XM5. That is not a fixed lens. And yeah, so far I like the Fuji camera, but it's a lot different from the Sony cameras, and I'm missing some of the functions that I had in the Sony camera, or I have in Sony cameras that I cannot find in the Fuji camera. But yeah, I understand why you're hesitant of having a fixed focal length, because of course you will limit yourself to some extent. But as far as I know, you can get these sort of accessories to make it more wide and more zoomed in as well. So you will have like a 3 fixed lens set up on the Fuji X100. So of course that's not a zoom lens, but it will give you some variety if you buy these accessories. So that might help you to buy that if you really want to. But I really understand you about the color production and just the vibe that these cameras give you. I do think though that they are, it's been a bit hyped, the Fuji cameras lately, and I totally get why, but if you think it's expensive for you to buy into, then you should perhaps consider buying another Fuji camera. They have produced a lot of Fuji cameras lately, so you can get something really great that doesn't have a fixed lens. But yeah. Hey Mohit, Canon versus Sony, which should I be buying studio at day and night both? Well, I haven't used Canon cameras myself for a long time, so I cannot really recommend Canon cameras. But that being said, I'm not going to say that Sony is better than Canon or other way around. I think that both Canon, Sony, Fuji, and perhaps even uh, Nikon produces really great cameras. So I don't think you can go wrong if you like search the market for something that meets your needs, then you will be happy. But yeah, that being said, I would not like, if I had to start over today, I would still like invest in Sony cameras myself. So yeah, I think if you should follow that advice, then I think you should invest in Sony. But if you rather want to invest in Canon, then I think you will be happy as well. Like, do you want me to like put a name on a camera you should buy? Like, it really depends on your needs. Yeah. Well, like, I guess it also depends on where you live. Like, because I live in Denmark and we have a lot of like taxes on tech stuff, and so a camera here in Denmark might be more expensive. So I might not like, it might not be that easy for me to recommend something that is within the budget, because I don't know what the budgets or the camera prices are where you live. Um, but yeah, like the cameras that have been made the last couple of years should be really great. So I don't think you can go wrong. But of course, like perhaps consider like also investing more in the lenses, or in a good lens, and then perhaps not that much in a camera, because yeah, in the end the lenses will last longer and will give you better results, I think. Like literally, like my A6000 that I've talked about now, it's really old, but it takes really great photos. Sony 7C. Um, yeah, I like the C cameras. I like they're smaller, so yeah, it's not a bad camera. I think like the first version of the 7C is a smaller version of the A7 III, I think, which is getting a bit old. I use the A7 III myself, and I still use this for like real photography jobs. So it takes really great photos as well, I think, and performs really well. And I take it that the Sony 7C does that as well, because yeah, as I said, it is built on the A7 III. So yeah, it's a good option. I don't know how much more you pay for the 7C version than you do from the A7 III, but like yeah, the A7 III there's a lot of like secondhand cameras that you can buy if you would like to look into this, because it was really popular when it came out. So I guess a lot of people are like trying to sell it. Of course, of course. Yeah, it's a good camera, I think. at least. Yeah, and also for night photography, it does decently. Hey Ben. Oh yeah. I I must say I used to shoot DSLR cameras. I used to own a Nikon camera, but I haven't touched a Nikon camera since I switched to Sony. Um, so I don't think I am the right to give you advice on this. I think that the A6700 is a really great camera. Um, so um, yeah. So I cannot really tell you if the Nikon C5 Mark II is better or worse. But as I just said to Mohit, I would perhaps look into like the lens options as well. And I don't know the lens options for the Nikon one, but like for Sony APC sensor cameras, there are a lot of great lenses out now, both from Sony but also from third-party brands. So if if that looks better than for the Nikon, then I would go the Sony way. Yeah. So I think I will end this video. It was really nice talking to all of you people, and I also talked a little bit about of these hot takes, which was something new. Thank you, Barry. It was nice talking to you. So yeah, I might do this format again here in the future. Let's see. I think it was yeah, nice connecting with you in another way than just doing like regular YouTube videos. So yeah, perhaps we will see each other in the future. But yeah, thanks for sticking around and thanks for being active in the chat. It was really nice. It makes these kinds of video a lot more fun to do. And yeah, if you have any questions on hindsight, then feel free to leave a comment in the chat or in another video of mine, and I will answer them. So yeah, take care, guys, and yeah, I will see you around. Bye.